So I just finished my dinner. Decided to keep making more videos. Okay, so I've talked about Casey Anthony and a bunch of other famous cases, and now I kind of want to talk about Caylee Anthony, which is the daughter of Casey Anthony, and how there was no justice. And what do we do when there's no justice? Like, so Caylee was murdered. She was murdered, and her killer's out free. Her killer's out free, living the best life. Still at the bar, still at the clubs, from news clips that I've seen. Still, partying, getting plowed, having new dudes all the damn time. Making interviews, getting paid to make these interviews. So she's making money and living the best life that she can. And meanwhile, she got robbed out of her life, and nobody's doing anything about it, and nobody's gonna do anything about it. It's she took a loss. What they say in the streets, you take a L. And this is not a rarity. It happens all the time. This is just like a famous case, but like other famous cases where the killer gets away, like O.J. Simpson. He killed 2 people, and for the most part, he got away with it too. He lived pretty much free for like a long time. He did get convicted on some BS, or not. I don't want to say BS, on some like something in Vegas for stealing his own things or something. And he did go to prison for like a little bit, but then he got out. Still, like I said, he lived a great life for being a killer. For a 2-time killer. And justice was not served. He did get sued civilly, and he lost. But even then, that's still not justice. Justice would have been him being losing his freedom for the rest of his life. That's at the minimum. Maybe the death penalty, but at the minimum, a long prison sentence. But that would have been justice. Because you took the lives of some people, so you don't deserve to have your freedom anymore. And time again, people get away with it, and nobody does anything about it. And it's just like, what do you do? Like, I know, like I said, I live in Texas, and here in my little group of circle of friends and family that I talk to, we've talked about stuff like this, and like, hey, what would you do if this was your daughter or this is a family member? And it's always like, if the justice system failed, I'll take care of it on a street level, And I would like to believe that, but I think for the most part, I don't really believe it. I think nobody really wants to risk their own freedom to take revenge. Especially, I can see it if it's a really close family member of yours, but not if it's a stranger. Because why would you risk your freedom for a stranger? So time and time again, we see this happening, and like I said, I always thought, like, what if it was my family members? And if it was my family members, I would probably do something, If they weren't a family member, I wouldn't do anything, So it gets me to think about people who don't really have families, people who are mostly like loners. It's like, if something happens to them as a loner, pretty much nobody's gonna really fight for you, So I was kind of surprised when I do see people fight for people who are kind of don't have too many people, like George Floyd, for example, like dudes, you had like the whole internet fighting for that guy, you know, a person you never met, and nowadays, anytime a police officer kills somebody, you have like the community come out, which I like that, you know, hey, you know, people are out here protesting when for somebody, a complete stranger that they don't know, when an injustice is done. So I do like that. Most of the time it's just because they hate cops. But I like that they at least they're showing out. But when it's not a police officer, where's the justice, you know? Or even if it's not like a famous case, like there was one case here in Houston, and of this elderly couple that got murdered by the police because the cops went to the wrong address. They went to the wrong address and they kicked down the door. And when somebody kicks down your door, and obviously you're not a criminal, and you don't expect your door to be kicked down, the owner pulled out a pistol, and he got murdered, and his wife got murdered. And again, it's like who fights for those people? You know, obviously, like the government's gonna fight for it, but to a point, you know. And if there is no real true justice, who's gonna be who takes the lead? It's something that comes to mind, especially like I'm mostly a loner, you know. And I think, like, if something happened to me, nobody's really gonna stand up for me. Like I see people who don't have family, and if you're nobody, then nobody cares about you, you know. And even if you are somebody, it's only like your immediate family, maybe, you know. It depends how much they love you, you know. Like I would say Trayvon Martin case. If he was my boy, my son, I could tell you I would be in prison. That's all. That much I could tell you. I would be in prison. I mentioned before that there was a case here. Maybe I mentioned it. I'm not sure. Here in Alvin, Texas, happened a while back. A father and son were driving home and got hit by a drunk driver. The father lost his son in the car accident, and in a rage of fury, he got out of his car and killed the drunk driver. You know, and if the local prosecutor decided not to pursue a case because he said, you know what, I don't think anybody would convict this father of killing this guy because I mean, it's like the revenge felt justified, you know. And sometimes I think it might be a Texas thing. Like a lot of these cases were not in Texas, and I always figured if they were in Texas, I wonder if because people over here are always about like you know, getting justice, you know, a fight about fighting back, you know, being almost like a rebel, you know. So I think about Caylee Anthony and how basically is again, no justice. There will never be any justice. Her killer's gonna live to be an old person and live a great life, you know. And it's gonna happen time and time again. And it's just kind of I don't know. I was like, you know, I wish there could be something done so this doesn't happen again in the future. Like I don't know, like just for everybody. Like, what could we do as a society? Like maybe there could be like an insurance. You know how we have life insurance. You can have a part of your life insurance if you die to fund attorneys to go after whoever did you wrong in case you actually if you were killed in some way. You know, I don't know. That's maybe a thought that I had. Yeah. So I don't know. Again, I'm from Texas and also like Mexican American. So I come from a culture of that's it's full of pride and family and revenge. Like I've had stuff like this happen in my family where people were hurt and you know everybody's like, oh, let's go get him. You know, it's almost like I don't want to say like gang activity, but almost like gang. You know, like we got each other's backs. You know, like when it comes to family. Like you don't mess with my family, man. We got strong family ties. Allegedly, you know, to an extent. I would like to believe that maybe things will happen. I don't know. I know I'm about it. If like I said, the main people in my family that I'm always if anything were to happen to them, like I said, I'm about it. Mainly my parents and primarily my parents, primarily my mom. You know, now, if anybody were ever to do something, you know, they better hope that I don't know, find out who they are, or like my close siblings. You know, actually all my siblings, but mainly my close ones. I have 8. I come from a huge family, you know, and that's the thing too. Nowadays, most people don't have huge families. So, like, I wonder if Casey or Caylee, if she had like a huge family, like lots of cousins, aunts, and uncles, would the situation have been different? You know, like I don't even think they had a dad in the family. I don't even know if they knew who the dad was. Yeah, so this was a thing. People, there is no more justice. There's and I don't know, just kind of a thought I had while I was eating my dinner, and I don't know, just a thought. The only thing I could do is spread the information. You know, hopefully make maybe the internet. That's where we could come out and make Casey Anthony's life miserable. That's the only maybe the power of the internet. The internet sometimes does this. We do our thing, you know. That is a way to fight back, but it's not really much. All right, man. This was kind of a downer. All right.